The notorious Conor McGregor is the most famous UFC fighter to ever enter the octagon. He was the first simultaneous double champ in company history. His pay-per-view numbers blow every other fighter out of the water. He was named the world's highest paid athlete by Forbes. So why is he competing Saturday night at UFC 264 in Las Vegas? Revenge. McGregor's rivalry with Dustin Poirier goes all the way back to September of 2014 when they first faced off. Back then, the Notorious was on a rocket ship towards superstardom and knocked out the Diamond in round one just as predicted. But if you've followed Poirier's career, it's all about one thing: persistence. His never-quit attitude and stop-at-nothing drive to be the best in arguably the most ruthless division in the UFC has defined his career. And when he finally got his rematch with McGregor more than 6 years later, he was ready.
Tonight is one of the best I've ever felt, honestly. I was emotionless, I was an assassin, and I was here to execute.
I'll regroup and pick myself up, get up off the floor and go again, and that's it.
Now McGregor and Poirier will settle the score in one of the most anticipated trilogies in combat sports history. Will the Notorious etch his name in the history books one more time? Or will the Diamond get the ultimate bragging rights in this epic trilogy? We're in for a potential all-time classic Saturday night at UFC 264.
Can't wait. Here we go. And we now welcome in CBS Sports combat analysts and co-hosts of Morning Combat, Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell, who join us from T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. McGregor admitted to looking past Poirier in their second fight. He was also cordial, didn't present his usual killer attitude this time around. He says, quote, "I'm coming to kill this man." He's going to be taken out on a stretcher. Luke, give us your perspective. What was that like being there for the press conference?
Well, he definitely had a better, or I should say at least a different energy. Better would be of something of an opinion. But he had a much more animated, angry, in-your-face, playing to the crowd, where something is weird. It's like a bit of McGregor fandom is just enjoying a guy saying incredibly disparaging things about other people. And you got a lot of that here today. So I think he was basking in that. Still, I have to tell you, I thought he was off a little bit, like he was trying to force it. Now, what does that mean for the fight itself? I guess we can talk about it and debate it. I don't frankly really know. But I will say, yes, very different than the second fight, but not exactly the first fight where he had Dustin sort of unraveling. It was just, I don't know, it was better, it was different, but it wasn't exactly the same old, same old.
Look, what is Las Vegas ultimately known for? Entertainment. But sometimes the second half of someone's career entertainment, somebody who might be going through the motions, playing just the hits. We saw Conor McGregor kind of do a caricature of himself today. The jokes were, to be honest, corny. There wasn't a rhyme or reason to it. You didn't see the spark and the flash and the authenticity of what he used to be and what he used to bring to the table. Look, I can't even speak today.
Authenticity? Really?
Authenticity.
Here
we go.
Authenticity?
Authenticity. It's all right. We're good. We're hyped up. We're excited.
We cover cage fighting for a living, Hakeem. You get the point. But look,
I get it.
Look, you know the eye of the tiger that we've seen in the past with Conor. I did not see that today. I tend to play into that a little bit more than Luke does, who's a little more X's and O's. I'm not seeing a confident fighter out there ready to turn back one of his highest profile defeats.
So do we think, I know you just watched that absolute entertainment value, the spectacle that it was, but BC, are we to believe, is our takeaway supposed to be here, is this the Conor of old?
No, it's what the Conor of now thinks is the best way to tap into the Conor of old. And I think if that shows you one thing, it shows a little bit of doubt, which is natural at this point in Conor's career. This is a double-down move, not different than in 2016 when he went back to the well against Nate Diaz a second time at welterweight, big pay-per-view. We talk then, is his legacy on the line, he's not undefeated, but we've never seen him lose and handled like that. Can he lose it all in a rematch? Well, that fight, he came back and won it. He put his star back in line. He was still elite. Those same sort of narratives are following Conor again. And I think a week out from his 33rd birthday, having seen him lose to Poirier, in some ways, like his response to calf kicks that were almost remedial level. I think it was an eye-opener. Has the sport passed Conor McGregor goodbye? That's something that can only be answered in the cage on Saturday night. But all the clues that we've seen in Fight Week, from his silence, then to the interviews, which were not giving credit to Dustin, very much just one quick one-liner after another. Yeah, it feels a little bit like 2014, 2015 McGregor. Not the same guy, though.
And by the way, Dustin was asked, do you give Conor McGregor credit? He said, yes, actually I do. I mean, listen, Conor McGregor is playing some of the old hits, right? you did see him go up there and, do sort of the Conor McGregor act, and his audience was, absolutely loving it. Some of that is still in play, but the difference is, like, one, it would have an effect on his opponents. You don't really see that now. And two, some of his lines, like in the first press conference he had with Nate Diaz, when Nate Diaz was filling on a short notice, this is the stuff of legend, memorable stuff. I mean, this was truly a time. I'm not exaggerating. There was a time, and, I don't know that the comparisons ever made sense, but at least people at the time, maybe 2014 or 2015, were saying McGregor was on par with Muhammad Ali as a trash talker. I mean, I didn't think that was true back then, but it definitely ain't true now. So there was a little bit of things, but to BC's point, it's less about the Conor McGregor of old and more about the Conor McGregor of this now. And there is some of the old stuff, but listen, the guy is much richer. He's much older. He's got kids. I think it's actually kind of foolish to expect him to be the same person. I know that's not what you mean by your question, Hakeem, but I think a lot of people actually are out there being like, oh, can he get back to who he was? No, he's in a totally different part of his life. I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I think part of it, too, when you talk about the Conor of old, can he keep up the trash talk? Can he kind of get his opponent, off of his game? And I don't think, and I know you guys agree, that he wasn't able to do that, certainly here in this press conference, and he certainly didn't do it the last time they were in Abu Dhabi, because the big reason that Conor McGregor said he lost that fight in January was because of inactivity. He fought Donald Cerrone, won, and that was likely at the end of Cerrone's career. I mean, we can all agree on that. Luke, what can Conor McGregor take away from that second fight into this third fight?
Well, the big thing is he's actually competing in a mixed martial arts bout without a year in between his previous ones, right? So if you look at his career, there's been 2 years apart from a mixed martial arts bout, a year, several consecutive times that has happened. This is the first time since, 2016 or so, he's had an MMA bout within 12 months of a calendar year. Now, that's different automatically, and it puts him in a much better space. But here's the question you have to ask yourself. One, do you think that Dustin Poirier can do some of the same things he did before? Yes, but there were also some tricks he pulled off that I think were the element of surprise that won't be there the second time. So that gives McGregor a bit of an opportunity to make some adjustments and get back on the horse. The big key question, I think BC agrees with this, I don't want to put words in his mouth, we've talked about it, is did McGregor just miss out on time? BC even asked him, do you regret not spending that portion of your prime consistently in the gym? Because that's exactly what Dustin Poirier has been doing. He said he didn't really regret it. Okay, maybe he's made the best life choices for himself. I don't know. But it is exceedingly rare to find a fighter who can take that kind of time off and then come back and still be among the best, which Dustin Poirier is. It's an uphill climb for the notorious.
Dustin,
I think in that second fight, quickly here, Conor McGregor was a one-note fighter in there. He was going to walk you down in the boxing stance and try to land the left hand. That worked in 2014, 2015 at featherweight. The competition has evolved since then. Nobody is more battle-tested or well-rounded than Poirier. So if you're McGregor, you need to bring a lot more than plan A to the table this time around.
Yeah, since 2017, Dustin Poirier 7-1 with his only loss coming against Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 242. Poirier is the slight favorite, BC. What can he use from that second fight to his advantage, and what's his path to victory in the trilogy fight?
Look, his path to victory is he's always said, look, I'm going to just be a mixed martial artist. What he's saying is, I've got a counter to everything Conor can bring to the table. And that's true. You know what we saw early in that second fight? Poirier take McGregor down with ease. With ease. That's something in Poirier's back pocket that he knows. Should he need that for strategic reasons, if Conor's hot early and landed some big shots, it seems like it's an area for Poirier where he can have some control. He can potentially set up to try to wear down Conor's gas tank. It's something he only went to once. He didn't really need it again in the second fight. But if he should get a more aggressive, a more dynamic Conor McGregor this time around, not just the steady accuracy of his jab and his boxing ability and the calf kicks, taking the fight to the ground where Conor has never really been close to an elite level could be key for Poirier in this one.
And by the way, it's just got to slow him down. I mean, if you look at the way in which Poirier's career has gone, BC's right. You want to talk about a battle-tested guy? Wow, they don't come much more battle-tested than him. What do I mean by when I say that? Well, fights have gone late for him, and he's won them with strikes late, with submissions late. He actually is one of these guys where in the fifth round, he's much better than he is in the first. That's actually not all that common, even for high-level fighters. And it definitely is not true for Conor McGregor. So McGregor, very much an early threat, no doubt about it. But as the rounds go on, that's where Poirier is going to be able to do things that Conor's just not really shown the ability to do. So that's going to be key as well.
All right, let's get your prediction here.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Authenticity. Francisco. It just comes off the lips.
Authenticity. It is a great word.
Yeah.
And we're always trying to be authentic. We're always trying to be authentic when we give wagers, right? Luke loves the prediction part of the segments. He doesn't have a minus 600 here.
I see you, Hakeem.
He can't rely on a minus 600 Amanda Nunes win here. It's minus 135 Dustin Poirier, plus 115 Conor McGregor. Luke, who do you like? Who is winning the trilogy fight?
Well, listen, I've said a lot of things here about Conor McGregor that I wasn't exactly buying what he was selling, or at a bare minimum, I got some questions. I've been wrong about Conor McGregor a lot. I want to be clear about that. And, just because he wasn't exactly himself does not mean, listen, Conor McGregor hits hard. Even Dustin Poirier in the second fight told him he got buzzed a couple of times. You have to imagine a much more dialed-in McGregor could deliver that and probably more. Does that flip the fortunes? It could. Still, if you look at the history of modern MMA trilogies, the fighter who won the second one has won the entire thing, or at least for 2 of the 3, in 9 of those 12 occasions, or 9 and 3, the ones who won the second one. I just think Poirier has been in the lab when another guy hasn't, and maybe the other guy was better at first and could have stayed better had he done those same things. But he didn't. So I'm going to go with Dustin Poirier this time.
Your point on the trilogies is key in boxing or MMA. Not only the fighter who wins the second one, but the fighter who wins the second one by knockout tends to win the third one even quicker the same way. So what's my pick here? I do like Poirier. I do like him by finish. I do think, though, the 6 months between fights will help McGregor have a better performance, even though he had moments in the second fight, but a stronger performance across the board. But for him to empty the jug, I'm talking about McGregor, of what's left in him, I think it will leave him exhausted at the end of the day if he can't finish Poirier. Poirier's tough. He could be knocked out, but he's tough. If we get into the 4th round territory, I like Conor's gas tank to go. Poirier takes his back by submission.
All right, BC and Luke Thomas, both authentic with their picks. They both like Dustin Poirier, the Diamond, to get it done in the trilogy fight. And again, the winner of this fight gets the next shot at the UFC lightweight champ, Charles Oliveira. Meantime, another trilogy fight is on pause. A big story out of boxing on this night. Fury Wilder 3 has been postponed. Tyson Fury tested positive for COVID-19. Means the finale of the trilogy against Deontay Wilder, scheduled for late July, has been postponed. That's according to Dan Rayfield, who also reports Fury got 1 vaccine dose, has not received the second. 3 other members of his camp have tested positive as well. ESPN reporting now the fight's likely to be moved to September. BC, what are you hearing?
I'm hearing it even as late as October, potentially, because you look at the calendar, we're not only overloaded with boxing and MMA, big cards, pay-per-views, kind of coming back from the pandemic and looking to pack as many big events in front of live crowds as we can. So we know that August is already packed up. September's got the threat of Canelo Alvarez fighting in his normal spot. You don't tend to like to put 2 boxing pay-per-views in the same month. We may not see this one until the fall, which is very disappointing. This has been such a stretched-out rivalry. It's not just the pandemic. It's not just the fact that this fight almost fell apart. We were supposed to see Anthony Joshua against Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder's team went to court to win back this mandated trilogy. Now we got to wait a little bit longer. Stinks to see. You feel like the world's opened up and we're back at it. But we're never quite there. Luke, this is a tough thing.
Well, that's actually good that you bring that up, because most of the COVID rules are still in place. So, I've said this before, you can think what you want about COVID or the pandemic or anything else. If you have it, you cannot fight. That's the rules. And all the stuff about I don't know if I want to take the vaccine. Oh, please, people. If you are a professional athlete, and particularly a prize fighter, and everything gets blown up because you didn't want to take a free miracle that does nothing to you except save your life, it's just irresponsible at this point. I have no sympathy for it whatsoever.
That's an authentically rogue take right there.
It's not rogue. It's modern medical science. What are people doing, especially if the rules are as stringent as they are?
Yeah, we don't want to take money out of people's pockets. All right, that was authentic. I love that. That's great stuff. Brian Campbell, Luke Thomas joining us.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.